get right at it. As farmers, we've been using GMO technology for more than 20 years, but now we hear about gene editing, CRISPR. Can you explain to us what that is all about?
If you're just doing conventional breeding, crossing one wheat variety with another one, what you're doing is you're combining 20,000 genes with 20,000 genes. The GMO technology that you were talking about, you're inserting one gene into a particular plant. And with gene editing, it's even more precise than that. You're changing one or two letters that, similar to like a phone book. So if the, genome of a particular plant is like a phone book, you're changing 1 to 2 letters. And, that's a plant that you can find naturally through natural mutation, or you can develop through mutagenesis. All we're doing is we're taking advantage of a natural process in nature and using it for the benefit of mankind. So that's in a nutshell what gene editing is about.
Yeah, Brian, that sounds great. It sounds actually exciting. So why is this such a hot topic? Why are people so interested in gene editing?
Well, Gunter, I'd like to think it's because people are so passionate about agriculture, but I think in reality, what this is all about is it's being perceived as a new approach to developing variability in the plant. And so, conventional breeding has a history of safe use. People know that, they're familiar with it. GMO, although it's been on the market for 25 years, maybe, developers, as a developer, I can tell you, maybe we could have done a better job rolling that out and talking about it like we are today. And so gene editing is just another one of those, new approaches, and I think it's generating a lot of discussion. And so, hopefully we've learned a few lessons, and we'll do a better job of rolling this one out. But I think really the excitement is that, this is a very targeted change that we could bring to plants in a faster way, and there are a lot of benefits, not just to farmers but also consumers worldwide.
Okay, Brian, it can sound a little bit overwhelming, confusing, maybe even scary, but we've got things like biotechnology, GMOs, mutagenesis, and now gene editing. Like it's overwhelming. Can you just break it down a little bit?
Yeah, sure thing, Gunter, and you're right, and I can tell you there's a lot of misinformation out there that confuses all of this and doesn't help. And so, let me give you a high level definition of biotechnology to start, and maybe we'll frame it up that way. And so, biotechnology is, really taking advantage of natural processes found in nature, and then using them to the benefit of mankind. And so I'll give you a couple of examples. Seed treatments. You guys are familiar with seed treatments. There are developers out there that are mining the planet for different kinds of bacteria. And some of these bacteria have the property of absorbing water better than the seed can itself, or absorbing nutrients better than the seed can. And so this becomes a product that you can apply to the seed to help the seed get a jump in the spring. So that's taking advantage of, a soil bacteria. And talking about soil bacteria, that's how, we developed GMOs is, we found this other soil bacteria called agrobacterium. and is responsible for crown gall disease. But really the mechanism is this bacteria can shuttle its own genes into the cells of plants and then use the cell machinery to produce what it wants for its own nutrition. The only thing that developers have done is they swiped out the bacterial genes and put in the genes of interest. And so, this could be herbicide tolerance. You could put in, BT to help with insects. And so, very much with gene editing, it's another natural system. It's a bacterial defense mechanism, actually. And it's kind of like, a bit like a word processor find and replace. And so we're taking advantage of this natural technology. And all we're doing is we're finding and replacing what we want in that particular plant. Science is good for climate change. And science is good to help us with COVID. Science is also good for agriculture.
Okay, Brian. So I've heard that there are several countries and even some customers of Canada are adapting gene editing and CRISPR technology. For example, Japan, they've kind of signed on to it, accepting it. The US, of course, and there's other countries as well. I don't know all of them, but where does Canada stand? All I know is that they're still debating on whether to accept this technology or not.
Canada's coming along, and you're right. You outlined the U.S., Colombia, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, Japan, Australia, Israel. I mean, these are all countries that are leaning towards providing exemptions to those products that have the 1 or 2 letter change, in the phone book, so to speak. These are products that you can find in nature, you can develop using conventional breeding or mutagenesis. And so I think that's the trend that we're seeing around the world. Canada is the only country that has a different regulatory trigger. And so let me just step back and give you a high level overview of that. So all the countries in the world, the regulatory trigger for these new products, so far has been biotechnology. So if you insert a full gene or multiple genes, use an agrobacterium like I was talking about earlier, that is a regulatory trigger to submit a lot of data to show the safety for food, feed, and the environment. And that could take up to 10 years before it comes to market. Canada does not have that regulatory trigger. Canada's regulatory trigger is novelty. So Canada regulates the product, not the process. And so, as a scientist or having a scientific background, I would tell you that makes a lot of sense. You know what? I mean, Canada looks at it from the perspective of, consumers eating the product. Is it safe for them? Livestock consuming the feed, and are these safe to grow in the environment? And so that makes a lot of sense. You're not eating the process. You're eating the product. And I think the delay that we're seeing with Canada is I think they're struggling a little bit with this catch-22, which is, we talked about this earlier as well. Although, gene editing is a natural process that's been out there for millennia, it's a new approach to developing variability in plants for agriculture. Okay, so, I think Canada's having a hard time with it being a new process. And I think what we've been saying back is, well, geez, Canada, you don't have to worry about it because you regulate the product, you don't regulate the process. I believe there's a path forward to getting Canada on the leaderboard.
We're an exporting nation, and we need to be able to compete with our competitors. One of our major customers, and very finicky customers, I may say, is Japan. And if they are signing on, and if they're okay with this technology, I think we really need to do some thorough navel gazing and step up to the plate and be there when this is ready to roll. Otherwise, myself as a primary producer, all of Canada is left behind. As a farmer and as president of the Western Canadian Wheat Growers Association, you know, as well as our members know, that our organization, the Wheat Growers, we always strive for policy that enables us to farm profitably, right? So we will be there at the consultation table in any way, shape, or form. We want to help to get the right policy in place to help us farm profitably.
This is a perfect example of the learning that we got from, GMO, which is, we need to talk about this. We need to share information. And